Alex here with a video on the state of Nevada versus Kim Blandino, a case involving a man's quixotic bid to investigate the judiciary.
I'm going to ask you to stay in the back of the court and that you not sit with Mr. Blandino and vice versa.
I'm going to have to object. I don't see
You
how
can
that,
object all you want.
How does it distresses me that you're not looking at the record on these interviews because...
All right, let me tell you, Mr. Blandino, I don't think it's a good way to do business here to tell me what you think I'm doing and
I
not
would
doing.
like a sidebar conference for a matter that I wanted to bring up, because in the past you would not accept a sidebar conference, but I think it's more than appropriate.
We're an open court. Go ahead. You don't need a sidebar. Tell me what...
Well, it's of a sensitive nature.
I'm not going to do that.
I think that Carleen Helbert should recuse herself from participating in this matter because, from all appearances, and I've checked with outside sources, so it's not just my perception, is that there's some kind of interest of a romantic or affiliatory, friendly nature that goes beyond the court.
Hold on a second. No, wait, hold on a second. If I'm talking to you, I want you to let me talk to you. Yeah. Sounds like are you alleging that there's some kind of relationship between me and Ms. Helbert? All right, I want to stop you at this point because, frankly, this is a ridiculous argument in my opinion.
There is some sort of motion on Your Honor for an order to show cause, not even a thinly veiled threat, but a threat.
Oh yeah, that motion is entitled Motion for Judge Baer to Show Cause Why Appellant or Others Should Not File a Complaint with the Commission on Judicial Discipline. Do you have any position on that?
I don't see how he can serve a motion on Your Honor who is hearing the case.
All right, hold on a second. Who's this guy staring at me over here?
This is Kim Blandino.
I'm trying to appear amicus curiae. I'm a co-plaintiff in the civil case.
Okay, are you an attorney? Then you need to sit down and quit staring at me like somehow you need to talk to me or whatever.
I do need to.
Pardon?
Can I make a record?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to make a record about you in a minute, but you need to sit down and be quiet because you're not a plaintiff or a defendant in my criminal case. You're not an attorney. You can't appear in my criminal case and act like an attorney, so sit down and be quiet.
We did.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Did you file write the motions in Judge Escobar's civil case? Yeah, you did? Okay, so let me tell you something. When you want to file motions in court and act like an attorney when you're not really an attorney, saying things like threatening the judge about how judges get kicked out of office for misconduct and all your egregious stuff where you don't follow things. You want to act like an asshole, but I'm telling you, that gets you nowhere in court. And you know what else gets you nowhere in court? Sitting in the audience of a court while a judge is engaging with somebody and shaking your head and being all demonstrative. So get out. Get out. It's never inadvertent when you come in and act all disrespectful to people.
In the opinion of one judge, Mr. Blandino's efforts crossed a line. Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge Pro Tempore Michael Federico took offense and concern when Mr. Blandino made multiple visits to his office, which prompted the judge to request an order of protection against harassment and stalking.
Please.
Objection to erratic. Assumes the facts not in.
Oh, this is...
This felony case that's in front of this court, that there is a stay-away order from me. But
Don't I get to cross-examine the witness?
Well, ask him a question. Go ahead.
I can cross-examine this guy for hours.
I'm going to cooperate with the police in any way possible against a convicted felon.
It is her. But stay away from him.
I will say, under my own word of honor, I will stay away from him. I've already been wrongly declared a vexatious litigant by the district court. That is on appeal. I should be allowed, as a member of the public, to still come in, as soon as I'm cleared to come into the RJC again, to still come into that courtroom where he's attending and do my investigation.
I cannot keep you from coming in the RJC.
Sitting on the bench where I can take notes and investigate further misconduct on this pro tem judge's part.
I would respectfully request that a condition of anything that goes out here today is he should be able to prove that he sought gainful employment.
To do what?
Have gainful employment. I'll stay out of Walmart.
Yeah, stay out of Walmart. Okay, all right.
Target, Your Honor.
No, this isn't funny. I don't believe that's not
I'll go to Target. You go to Walmart.
No.
And that if there is any hanky-panky done where you try to initiate contact.
I'm not the convicted liar you are,
Yeah.
so just stop addressing me now, please.
Yeah,
Please,
listen.
enough with your nonsense.
I agree. That's enough. Just stay away from him.
That's going to make it more difficult for him to stay away, apparently.
Yeah,
So,
right. That's
This
what I'm
guy,
saying.
I mean, he's obviously obsessed, as you can see.
I'm going to need a second to clear off my desk.
That's all right.
The gentleman has a ton of stuff he wants to bring.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Direct contact.
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, just keep still a minute.
Except for this morning, he tried to intimidate me walking in the court.
Okay.
That is a lie, and I
Court marshal's right there. He started talking. There he is, there he is.
This is Michael Federico, a temporary judge. He would be pleased if he could announce his bar number for the court and for the record.
He already did before. It's already been done before the record for me. So since there was no contact, then there's no protective order going to be issued.
But he has made false representation. He's
There's
perjured
no-
himself on the record.
All right.
And I have a right to bring that issue. I intend to file a TPO against him for harassment. Willful, malicious harassment, in addition to the civil abuse of process suit against this gentleman.
Sir, the case is closed.
The state of Nevada has since charged Mr. Blandino with extortion and impersonating an officer, alleging he threatened to falsely report Mr. Federico to the Commission on Judicial Discipline and the FBI if he didn't take classes on ethics, reimburse him $25, or pay a sanction of $500 to the law library, and stating that he was a volunteer investigator for the Commission on Judicial Discipline. Mr. Blandino denies the allegations, insisting that any threats made to report Mr. Federico to the Commission on Judicial Discipline was based on his good faith belief that the judicial canons were being violated, and not intended as an insinuation that he intended to file false reports with the Commission if he didn't get his way. Mr. Blandino's competency to stand trial was called into question, and the case was derailed when Mr. Blandino countered that virtually the entire judicial district was corrupt and biased, leading to a series of proceedings on the issue with district judges Linda Marie Bell.
But we have some administrative matters before we even get to that. Let me enter my appearance. I'm Kim Blandino, appearing pro se for Kim Blandino.
Good morning. So
there's an unadjudicated motion to disqualify you for bias. Therefore, you cannot sit.
Sir, I'm just telling you, if you do not participate in the evaluations, the likely result of that is that you will be remanded into custody, and I would hate to see that happen.
James Bixler.
I object.
I object to you.
Counsel, I have an objection.
Shut up.
I have a right to object, I believe, Your Honor.
You have the right to get held in contempt of court. And that's what's going to happen if you don't shut up. I'm not putting up with any of your crap here today. Your reputation has preceded you. You want to interview you?
Yes, sir.
I object to that laughing, Judge.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think the defendant has already categorized himself as a vexatious litigant.
I object.
Should throw you one.
Can I make a record?
No.
I've got a motion.
What did I just say? What did I just say? No.
I can't say anything.
No.
No, you have no
File a
authority.
response.
You're impersonating
Shut
the
up.
judge.
Shut up. You're getting real close to getting remanded.
Linda Marquis.
Counsel, what's the update on this case?
Before we get anywhere, though, I have a motion to disqualify you, Judge Levitt, and Judge Bell. I want to file it in open court. I demand to be allowed to file a motion to disqualify you, Judge Bell, and Judge Levitt, as well as the other 8th Judicial District. This matter has to, because of the risk of bias and everything, and really, if you were going to be absolutely above board and totally honorable, in the highest sense of the word honorable, you would see that there is an intolerable risk of bias, and I shouldn't even have to file a motion to disqualify. You should, sua sponte, which you have the authority to do, assign this case to a judge from another district. Judge Levitt admitted in open court, call her as a witness, which I will if it goes to trial. I'd have to call Judge Herndon, Judge Baer. I'd have to have some other witnesses come, because there's been correspondence between us to the very underlying issue of impersonating a public officer. This shows the bias and prejudice on your part. You're acting as though you're a sub-prosecutor to the prosecutor's office. This basis alone, you should recuse yourself right now immediately.
Well, I don't think anyone ever accused me of being a sub-prosecutor.
Well, why wasn't the word alleged used?
Well, I misspoke.
Can I have an apology for that?
Remand. However, I'm going to see you back, and we have better have those appointments made, and I want verification from the doctors that they're done. In addition to the requirements of your release are the following. You will not contact Talia Williams privately or in her professional capacity.
Will that be part of your written order?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
In addition, you are not to contact Judge Levitt privately at her home, Judge Delaney privately at her home in any way.
I have no reason to do that.
Well, I'm kind of worried because you're talking about burglaries at people's houses and their addresses. You're not to contact me.
Well,
you're
not.
Hold
using
on.
those representations against me now.
Yeah, I am. Yes. And I'm going to use.
If Williams would have had a drop backs in this courthouse, I would have dropped it off there. I'm sorry, Judge. This is outrageous.
Christina Silva,
You are twisting the facts here, Judge. You are clearly biased in favor of the district attorney here. I said biased. I am going to file, I'm going to have to file another motion to disqualify you.
Well, you're going to need to follow the court procedure for
But
doing that.
why do you want to only do half the work? There's a motion to disqualify.
Please
You
lower your
can't do
voice,
anything in this
Mr.
case.
Blandino, lower your voice. I am
motion
going
to
to grant the
disqualify.
state's request to remand Mr. Blandino to custody. He
Yeah.
will be taken into custody at this time.
All right, can I
I am going to order that Mr. Blandino also be evaluated while he's in custody pursuant to the pending.
Are you going to give a timeline for that, Judge?
It'll be with the.
and District Judge Joe Hardy, Jr.
Judge, I'm my own counsel. I've got ankle cuffs on, and I need to go to the table so I can access my paperwork.
Doctors Collins and Sussman were unable to make a determination
Excuse me, Judge, I'd like to rule
as to
on my request.
competency because defendant refused to participate. Defendant will more than likely be sent to Lake Stein for further treatment and restoration. Pursuant to 178.415, thus pursuant to 178.415, I am remanding defendant to the custody of the sheriff for transport for further observation.
Do I need not, I don't get to make any kind of record here, Judge? This is outrageous. I got a right to make a record.
Mr. Blandino was ultimately evaluated and found competent to stand trial. We filed a media request, and District Judge Michelle Levitt has granted that request, allowing us to cover Mr. Blandino's return on May 5th, 2020 at 8:30 a.m. The state of Nevada is represented by Deputy District Attorney Michael Dickerson. Mr. Blandino is representing himself with Attorney Ben Bateman as standby counsel. You can keep up to date on our coverage schedule at ournevadajudges.com, and as with our previous videos, feel free to post any questions you have down in the comments below, or you can send us an email at admin@ournevadajudges.com.
An absolute decree of divorce is granted.
By September 6th, you will pay $6,000 of what is due.
Best interest is not, can you give her a pony?
To ask the question to make sure we're being accurate with what the document states.
To find out what the facts were. I agree, the record's a mess.
I make a finding that paternity has been established.
He was a potential danger to his children.